Sourav Ganguly slipped into the Indian team rather quietly. But since announcing his arrival on the test scene with a century at Lord's in '96, his stay has been anything but quiet.
Magnificent. What an innings. What a player, how he had come. When I remember that, when I look back to that, I look back to 2 months before that when he was selected for the England tour, and there were numerous amount of articles that were written as to why he's there, and it's a quota system and it's East Zone that's pushed him and he doesn't deserve it. But how wrong they were. I mean, so it just goes to show that this is a really determined young man, and he wanted to prove everybody wrong, and he managed it, and he managed it with real style.
Rahul Dravid spoke unabashedly about Ganguly's mastery of the offside with that famous quote of his: "First, there is God, and then there is Sourav." He will be remembered not so much for his elegant batting as his leadership skills. Ganguly has done enough with the bat, but more as captain of the Indian team to merit a place in Indian cricket's Hall of Fame.
Team India's overseas performances evolved since the year 2000, and it's still going on. If you look at our last 7-8 years overseas performance, we've been as good as any team in the world. We've beaten England in England, we've beaten West Indies in West Indies, and you take teams we've competed and played well. We went to Australia in 2003 and we dominated a strong Australian team. So I think that was a defining moment in Indian cricket. Then we went to Pakistan and won after 50 years. So things really took a change from the year 2000.
He surprised even me. I've been throughout a great fan of his, and even I didn't really realize that he had this in him, this leadership quality, this aggression, this way of actually looking at the larger picture. You'll see his captaincy was not only on the field but off the field as well. He backed the right people. He knew who would actually win games. So he had a very analytical bent of mind. And it's got to be the larger picture always. You can't have narrow considerations, and he showed that to the rest of the world and the nation, that winning was paramount, and there was just no compromise with the Indian team.
He made the team and gave the confidence to the team that we can win outside India with the limited resources. He persisted with some young players, which he thought that could be a match winner for his team, and that is how he's going to remember.
He assumed captaincy of the Indian team at a difficult time, as world cricket had just been rocked by match-fixing revelations in 2000. He joined hands with a think tank that included Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, Anil Kumble and Javagal Srinath in giving Team India a focus and direction that it seemed to lack previously. He infused self-belief in the team, giving young cricketers the confidence of a long run in the team, leading to victories in Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, the West Indies, Sri Lanka, England, Australia and Pakistan. Against such a backdrop, his contribution with the cricket ball can quite easily be overlooked. But he was more than a handy bowler. Above all, he was the king of comebacks.
I was not batting my best at 2005, I agree with that, but still managed to get 100 in the test match in Zimbabwe. Whichever opposition is it, a test 100 is a test 100. I didn't mind losing my place and being dropped as captain, but the way it happened, that wasn't right.
I've got a lot to say on Sourav Ganguly's determination in fighting his way back, and not so much as fighting his way back, but once he came back, the way he performed really speaks volumes for this man.
Into the offside, and a very good half-century here for Sourav Ganguly.
For someone who had been jettisoned after his maiden tour to Australia as lazy, he came back with a bang in England 4 years later. He ran into trouble with coach Greg Chappell and lost both his captaincy and place in the team after a dismal tour of Pakistan. The epitaph writers got busy again. People forgot the man for almost a year till it changed again in dramatic style. He rode right back into the limelight as he top-scored for India in his comeback series in South Africa to prove yet again that he was really destiny's child. A century in the Mohali Test of his farewell series has ensured that the legend of Sourav Ganguly will live on for a long time.
It was an important series for me, my last one, so it was nice to get 100.
Think of Ganguly and images of him waving his shirt from the dressing room balcony at Lord's come to the fore. But there are more moments of Ganguly magic than merely the greatest of his memories at the end of NatWest Trophy final against England in 2002.
We'd lost the game. I think he was on the balcony, wasn't he? And I was walking off. I wasn't looking up at Sourav, but you know, that shows the passion he has for the country and playing for India. I think that served him very, very well throughout his career.
As captain, his greatest moment was in leading the team to a place in the ICC World Cup 2003 final against Australia, after nobody gave his team a chance of doing well. The century that he made in Brisbane in 2003-2004 will be etched in the minds of those who watched it. Later in 2004, he returned from injury to lead India to a huge win over Pakistan in Rawalpindi, where his team became the first from India to win a Test series. Ganguly marked his return to the Test team with 2 half-centuries in South Africa in 2006, leading the team's batting averages on the tour. But he took everyone's breath away with a stupendous knock of 239 in the Bengaluru Test against Pakistan.
That was a huge performance by Sourav Ganguly, and yeah, that again underlying and underscoring the point that Sourav Ganguly is special, not only because of talent. You see, talent was evident to me. But what was not evident to me was this never say die attitude which he had, and it surfaced and it served him well. So really, he's an absolute champion.
But I first became aware of him when he and Dravid made their debut and got runs against England. But I think, you know, when he really came to the fore was when he started to open in the one-dayers, and I think that's when you started to see the flair and, I mean, the ability through the offside. I think what Sourav did as a captain of India, he was the guy that really took them to another level overseas. You know, suddenly India went overseas and they performed well under Ganguly, and he gave them the fight and the spirit. You know, he deserves a lot of credit as a captain for doing that. You know, obviously he'll be remembered as one of the better Indian captains, and certainly one of the stronger Indian captains. But there's no way, I mean, if you saw him play a big innings and play through the offside, there's no way you can forget that. So I think he'll be remembered as both. I think he'll be remembered as a tremendous offside player and a very good fighting captain. The important thing is if you achieved what you wanted to achieve. And I think that Sourav will probably retire a pretty satisfied man.